Have you ever wondered what happened to the bustling coal mining towns of the UK? Just a few decades ago, coal was king, fueling an entire nation. But in the 1980s, everything changed. Over 100 mines closed, and hundreds of thousands of jobs vanished. So, what really caused this dramatic collapse? Let's dig into the story. For much of the 20th century, the UK's coal industry was a powerhouse. In the 1920s, over 1 million people worked in the mines. It was tough, dangerous work, but it provided a livelihood for entire communities, creating a unique culture and a powerful sense of solidarity. These weren't just jobs, they were a way of life. The industry was nationalized in 1947, becoming the National Coal Board, which seemed to secure its future. But beneath the surface, the ground was already shifting. The first major challenge was competition. Cheaper coal from countries like Poland, Australia, and the United States started flooding the international market. Domestically, a new source of energy was emerging right from the UK's own backyard: North Sea oil and gas. Starting in the late 1960s and booming through the 70s, this new fuel was cleaner, more efficient, and increasingly cost-effective for power stations and homes. The demand for coal began to shrink. The Central Electricity Generating Board, the biggest customer for coal, started converting its power stations to run on oil and gas, dealing a huge blow to the mining industry. Then came the political storm. In 1979, Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister. Her government was determined to modernize the British economy and curb the power of trade unions, particularly the National Union of Mine Workers, or NUM. The NUM was one of the most powerful unions in the country, and had famously brought down a previous government in the 1970s. For Thatcher's government, a confrontation was almost inevitable. The government viewed many of the older, deeper mines as uneconomic. They argued that these pits were costing taxpayers millions in subsidies just to stay open. In 1984, the National Coal Board announced a plan to close 20 pits, with a potential loss of 20,000 jobs. This was the final trigger. In response, the NUM, led by Arthur Scargill, called a national strike. What followed was one of the most bitter and divisive industrial disputes in British history. The miners' strike lasted for an entire year. From 1984 to 1985, it pitted communities against the police, and sometimes neighbor against neighbor, as some miners chose to cross the picket lines. The government had prepared well in advance, stockpiling coal and ensuring power stations could keep running on alternative fuels. The union, however, was financially and strategically outmaneuvered. After a year of hardship and struggle, the strike ended in defeat for the miners. The floodgates were opened. In the years that followed, the government pushed ahead with a massive pit closure program. By the early 1990s, the once mighty British coal industry was a shadow of its former self. The privatization of the industry in 1994 was the final nail in the coffin. So, it wasn't just one thing. It was a perfect storm of economic pressures from cheaper foreign coal and North Sea gas, combined with a determined political agenda to break union power and privatize the industry. The closure of the mines left deep scars on communities that are still felt today. It was the end of an era, a dramatic chapter in British history that reshaped the country's economic and social landscape forever. Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into history. See you next time.